Hello Year 8. Welcome to GCSE English Literature and GCSE English Language at St Joseph's. I am Miss Butler and I am the head of department. What we want to get all of you to achieve within English is the ability to be a lover of literature and also a critical thinker. We want you to be able to ask questions and we want you to be able to look at things from different perspectives. You will be working towards two separate GCSEs in English. The first one is English language and the second one is English literature. For literature, you will be sitting two papers. Paper 1 will be on Macbeth and the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And paper 2 will be testing you on an Inspector Calls, anthology poetry and unseen poetry. These exams are slightly different in length. Paper 1 will be 1 hour and 45 minutes and paper 2 will be 2 hours and 15 minutes. Here are some of the front covers of the text that you will be looking at. So again, we can see Macbeth, we can see Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, we've got an Inspector Calls, and we've got our anthology, and the theme that we will be looking at will be conflict and power poetry. There'll also be an opportunity in Key Stage 4 to watch a performance of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is something that we have offered in the past to Key Stage 4. Of course, this has been a little bit limited this year, but this is something that we hope you will have the opportunity to see yourself when you are in Year 10. If we have a look at the language specification at a glance, again there is two papers. There are two sections for each paper, and section A for both papers will be testing your reading and section B will be testing your writing, so descriptive writing and also writing to present a viewpoint. Both of these exams are the same in length. They're both 1 hour and 45 minutes. There's a third component to English language. There's the spoken language task. Now this doesn't contribute towards your overall language grade. It's a separate endorsement. So you get a certificate from AQA for completing this assessment and passing this assessment as well. So the things that you're assessed for this is your ability to present, your ability to respond to questions and feedback, and your use of standard English. And this will be assessed by your English teacher, it will be marked by your English teacher, and again is a separate endorsement, so it means it doesn't contribute towards your overall GCSE grade, but you get a separate certificate for that. And that will be something that you will add to your file of qualifications, and when you go to college you will show them that certificate as well. I've put together some examples of English language questions from section A and section B of both the papers, because I know sometimes it can be quite hard to picture what English language is. So for creative writing, you'll be given an image and asked to write a description or a narrative story on it. For the writing from a viewpoint, you will be asked to argue, asked to inform, asked to persuade. So they're the different writing styles that you will be taking on. And for section A of both papers, you will be tested on your ability to understand the information that you were given in the extracts. So you can see there's a multiple choice question. You can also see there's more of an extended writing question as well, asking you to comment on how the writer uses language. If we have a look at English language in a little bit more detail, particularly focusing on spoken language, you're going to be given 10 minutes where you can speak about a topic of interest to you. So I'm going to show you some examples of what previous students have spoken about and have been really successful with. So who is to blame for the death of Eva Smith? So this is a character from Inspector Calls. Who is to blame for King Duncan's murder, Macbeth or Lady Macbeth? Again, another question focusing on one of the texts that we have looked at. Should capital punishment be reintroduced to Britain? And is there really a gender pay gap in Britain? Now, all of these topics allow you to speak about a challenging topic, and you could easily speak for 10 minutes on each of these. You, of course, might have another area of interest when it comes to your opportunity to choose what you would like to speak about, but I just thought it was nice to see some examples of topics that GCSE students have spoken about in the past. Let's have a look at what the curriculum looks like at Key Stage 4. In Year 10, we tend to do a lot of our textual study. So you will read all of the text that you will need to know for your GCSE in Year 10. We will look at the key characters and we will look at the key themes for each of these texts. We will start with an Inspector course with one lesson of English language per week. We will move on to Power and Conflict Poetry, followed by one lesson of English language per week. We will then move on to Macbeth, still continuing to complete one lesson of English language per week. We will then move on to Unseen Poetry with one lesson of English language per week. We will then move on to The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, again incorporating that one lesson of English language. Moving into the summer term, we will really focus on English language here. We will start to think about what it is you want to talk about in your spoken language task, and we will start putting those presentations together. As we move into Year 11, we will be carouselling between different topics, so we won't be spending a whole half term just on one topic anymore because we've already studied them, but we will be revising over each of them and consolidating our understanding and starting to look at exam strategies and exams techniques for each of those topics. So if you have a look and follow the arrows along, you can see that throughout each half term we tend to move to different topics quite quickly, and this is because you've already read these texts and you already understand them well, and now what we want to do is consolidate our knowledge and to start practicing our extended writing and our exam writing as well. I've highlighted in red the times of year you will be having your centre-based assessments or PPE exams. You might know of these as mocks as well. We tend to do these in the autumn term and again in spring 1. Of course, this might change by the time you're in Year 11, but this is a rough guide of what Year 11 will look like for you. And this leads all the way up until your GCSE examinations and your extended summer break. Of course, that's quite far in the future, so let's stick to what is most pressing, Year 9 curriculum. When you start Year 9 in September, you will start studying a novel called Lord of the Flies. We will continue with this up until nearly Christmas, when we will begin our Shakespeare play, which is The Merchant of Venice. We will then move on to Love Poetry to prepare us for the poetry topics that we have at GCSE. We will then look at a book called Pigeon English. I think this is something that you're all going to really enjoy. This is a new topic that we have added to our Year 9 curriculum map. It's a diverse book, and I think it's something that's quite enjoyable and we're going to enjoy reading. And then finally, we will end Year 9 doing some creative and transactional writing. So that's where we will be descriptive writing, narrative writing, writing to argue, persuade and inform, and we will be putting together a portfolio of extended writing. And that will take us up to the end of Year 9. So I've put together some of the front covers of some of the texts and some examples of poetry and an example of some of the creative writing, so you can see this all together here. You will also notice the symbol for bedrock. We do continue with bedrock for homework in Year 9, so the same as Year 7 and Year 8. We do our 2 lessons minimum per week. So thank you for listening to this presentation, and in English we're all very excited that we get to have all of you for Year 9 and Key Stage 4. It's not a case of you opting in, you will be taking English language and English literature, and we're really happy that we get to continue teaching the whole year group once again.